Good morning, good morning. How are you doing?
Not too bad at all.
Yeah, not too bad. Great track. That's a nice soft track. Who was that by?
Shay Universe. It's called
Oh,
Oh
not heard of
Wait.
that. Gonna have to take that. So I hope everyone is well today. Good morning to everyone on the Mixed Cloud this morning. Who's on the Mixed Cloud? Adelaide, Mackenzie, Martine. I haven't got yours up yet, Sharky. So everybody, good morning, good morning. I hope everyone is well. What have I missed? I missed conversations this morning. What did I
Yeah,
miss? Did I
we're
miss anything
talking.
exciting?
A couple of things I was talking about. One was Mixcloud, and all the troubles that's going through Mixcloud. They've changed up the screen settings and everything. It looks very different. The format in the screen, and also talking about when someone says a love is complicated. What do they actually mean that my relationship is complicated? You know, when you ask someone how, you're in a relationship, they say, yeah, but it's complicated. What kind of sign does that give out to people?
Yeah, usually that means it's on the verge.
You
It's on
know,
the verge.
say what does it actually mean? It's complicated.
Remember, you used to have that on Facebook.
Yeah,
The status, are you in a relationship? I
yeah.
don't know if it's still on there actually.
Don't
And
know.
a lot of people started putting it's complicated, meaning they are, but they're not. They are,
Mm.
but they're available. That's what I take as complicated means. Yeah, the door's slightly open.
Yeah, to me, it's like if someone says to me, "Yes, I'm in a relationship, but it's complicated," it's like, you know what? You can chat me up.
Yeah,
I'm in a
yeah.
relationship, but you can chat me up.
Yeah. I'm looking out for everybody else. That's what the complicated means. Yeah, I need to
Um,
uncomplicate it by moving on to somewhere else.
yeah,
So yeah, those lines do have meanings in them. Be careful how you use those words, people, because
exactly.
that could leave the door open. Because you know people are fast. As soon as a little creak is left open, they will stretch it wide open.
They will try to definitely.
Good morning, Sugar Sweet. Good morning to you. And of course, on Sharky's Mixcloud, good morning, Verona, Susan Simpson, Spice Nice. First, I always wonder how First Lady does that with her
Yeah,
name.
you need to
I
share
want to
that.
find out. Share the love,
Share
man.
that love and let us know how you do it, First Lady. Because it's I do like see that it stands out, and maybe she's just gonna keep it standing out. But if you don't tell us, we will find out.
Yeah, we will. We will. You're going to see my name suddenly doing that, but I'm going to work it
Yeah.
out. But coming on to Mixcloud, yeah, I've got an issue out with them at the moment talking about Mixcloud because we pay as pro creators, right? We pay
Yeah.
for Mixcloud, and half the time I can't even get the Mixcloud chat because it just stops. I don't know what that is about. I don't know if any of you guys use Mixcloud and all of a sudden there's no conversation for about 10, 15 minutes and you're like, well, someone's talking, I know they are, and you have to refresh the screen or go back in. I've been
Reboot,
emailing, oh yeah, they're telling me
uninstall and
install the app.
reinstall.
Yeah, done all of that. And
And this
so,
morning it's given the same problem. Like I can only see right now. We can normally see the amount of people. When you're the one that's actually streaming, you actually get a green indicator of how many people are actually listening. And right about now, I can only see one person listening on my Mixcloud. And when I click on it, that's me.
that's very true. There's nobody else. You know what you need to do? You need to screenshot all of this and send it to them because we are paying for Mixcloud, so we need to get these issues up to them. But anyway,
Mm.
just to let you know, everyone, yes, there are severe Mixcloud problems. It's been going on a while, and as they said, you know those tips that we gave out for the benefit day, and we haven't even spoken about that, have we?
Yeah, I mentioned it this morning about the amount of money that's been taken away from us for every £5 that's been given to us. But I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so basically, we did a benefit day. I'm going to show the video in a second. I need to get it up there. I'll let Chucky play a track perhaps while I load it up because we was meant to do that yesterday and say a big thank you. But just very, very quickly with Mixcloud and their tipping. So we thought, great, we can set up a tipping if we're ever doing any kind of benefit or charity drives or even just tipping for yourselves. But Mixcloud, for every £5 that you donate, Mixcloud take £1. For every £10, they take £2. For every £20,
Mm,
they take £4. So £1 off every £5. So those of you that have been donating, and it may seem the amount is slightly smaller, that's because Mixcloud has taken a huge chunk of money out of that They say it's because it's to make the platform better. And at the moment, looking at this platform, it's not better. Right, they've done some updates, but in terms of having it stable and people seeing messages like what it's supposed to do, that's not happening. So I'm not using tipping function on Mixcloud anymore. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. I'd rather do PayPal me for
Yeah.
people that want to contribute. And another charity drive is going to be set up. But Sharky, play a track. I'm going to get this video. We're going to say thanks to everybody, and we'll talk about what the next steps are. Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank everyone that took part in the GY Radio Benefit Day, which was last, I think, on the 1st of April. We did it to raise money for our co-colleagues, Miss L Vibes and Delight, who had recent passings away of close family members, and just thought it'd be nice to do something for them during this time of cost of living crisis. Just something to let them know that we are supporting them and that we are thinking of them. And I've got to thank the Mixclouders, because you guys came out, and some of you were on all day with our DJs. We had a plethora of DJs come on, some of which are not on GY Radio, and they come on to support Miss L Vibes and Delight, and it was absolutely beautiful. It really was, all day. It was worth the effort of crashing out just after midnight on that day. After being on, I stayed on to pass the baton to each DJ, introduced and spoke about what the causes were about. But we did raise some cash, and for those of you that haven't seen the video, this is just a little thank you to all of you that were involved, pledged money, watched, sent a chat message. So thanks to everybody, and take a look at this. The GY Radio Benefit Day, an all-day event held in support of Miss L Vibes and Delight.
This is Miss L Vibes here, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your donations and for all your support given to myself and also to Delight during this difficult time that we are going through. And I would like to say a big thank you to all the DJs that took part on the day. What a day of musical entertainment. Can't thank you all enough. It was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much, guys. It really does mean a lot. I really, really do appreciate the love and support.
So thank you for giving so generously. Thank you, Mixclouders, and thank you to the DJs. So thank you all once again. We raised 410. I reckon it was about £500 if we'd have had our way. If Mixcloud didn't take their cut.
If they didn't take their cut, yeah, definitely.
But £410 is absolutely fantastic. They've got the funds now. That's all been transferred over to them. They said thank you again. It was a brilliant day, actually. I really, really enjoyed it. And so did the DJs, and I think so did the Mixclouders. Now, of course, on the back of that, we realised that we should be having a charity partner as well for the radio. So we are making tasks to have these benefit days again. There's a couple of charities that have been identified. One of them I've put forward, which is Ultra Education. They featured on the virtual couch one day. Lots of young children who are set on becoming entrepreneurs. They give them the guidance and support to help them start up their own business plans, loans if they need it, how to speak, documentation and so forth. It's absolutely brilliant, and it does a lot for the kids. We need much more for our children, and we want them to go in as entrepreneurs, not go and work this government job and retire and get your pension at 70, which is when they'll get it. Right? Ours is going up to 68. Theirs will be probably 75, or when they pass or something like that. But that's an absolutely fantastic charity to support. And also there's a building of a Ghana school that is being done, and we're doing a book drive as well. So there's a couple of things coming up that I hope that you all will support for GY Radio. Okay.
Excellent. And hold on, before we go any further, Touch T was said he's got a comment in there about the money that's taken out.
Yep.
Good morning, Touch T. He said it's to eliminate the money laundering, and it mentions this when you sign up for tipping, and it's online with the FCA. Okay, got to look at that one. Thank you very much, Touch T.
Thank you very much, Touch Tea. Thank you. And Laurie says she has to leave her refresh to see how many on the chat. Yeah, we literally have to refresh all the time. Now, I'm assuming that because an update has been done, there's some bugs and some glitches, and hopefully Mixcloud will sort them out. But I do urge you to contact Mixcloud support if you are having continual problems, because unless we tell them, they think that everything's working A-OK, and it's not working A-OK. It
No.
really isn't.
Definitely not for us, because with Mixcloud, guys, I'm not sure if you know, when you actually stream, the number that you actually see is not the actual number that of viewers that are actually on. That's the number of people that actually log on. We actually get to see the actual numbers that are actually online, and there's that shows on my Mixcloud only one person online, which is moi.
That could be it. That's all that could be watching. Nobody else is logged in.
Yeah.
Now, coming up to some news now. Now, as I reported yesterday, O.J. Simpson had passed. That's been in the news over the last couple of days. But his background left a lot to be desired for. A lot of people thought that he had actually killed Nicole. After all, we had that long police car chase with him in there. And then obviously these months of court wranglings where Robert Kardashian got him off. But the background to his behaviour kind of supersedes what happened in court in terms of him getting off. Now, I've been reading on Twitter about a lot of this, and I think on some of the feeds, some people put, I hope he burns in hell for what he did, and things like that. And so I kind of read into a little bit more, and there was a young lady, she's got a blue tick, so she's official on Twitter. But I'm going to read out this article that she put on Twitter about O.J. Simpson. Now, this is alleged. I don't know if it's true or not, but this is her account of working with O.J. Simpson. Now, she says she's been waiting 29 years to tell this story about O.J. and his days at USC, which was the university he was at. Now that he's dead, may he burn in hell. I have a story that I signed an NDA for that is no longer valid. I was a junior at USC, working in Topping Student Centre on campus in 19... Sorry, my phone lent on something there. That's a video I'm going to play a bit later on. Sorry, you heard some Jamaican in there. That came through. That's a surprise video, I'm sorry. And she says that she was an admin assistant to the president of student affairs, that semester in the work program. Now, she said in the early 1995, Robert Shapiro and Robert Kardashian, which were two of the lawyers, walked up to her desk and said they had an appointment with her boss. And she said she was studying to be a criminal defense lawyer with a dual major in political science and international relations. So she knew who they were. And she said the meeting lasted about 30 minutes. She said, after they left, I looked at my boss like, what the hell was that about? And he walked me outside and turned around and said that he had to sign an NDA because I could confirm OJ's lawyers because they were there for a meeting. Then he told her what the meeting was about. So basically, before OJ could graduate from USC, the university paid off two families of two blonde white girls that he had dated and battered. They had both gone to the LAPD to report it. One claimed that he also sexually assaulted her in the relationship. But the school had a vested interest in OJ going far in football, as you know this happens, and protected him at all costs. So OJ had been in custody for 6 months and lawyers were in the discovery process for the trial. And OJ's friend at the time, which was Robert Kardashian, who knew OJ from a student, thought it was best if those stories never saw the light of day. So a large check was written, given to her boss, and they left. And she says, I never forget holding that check. And she said after he was acquitted from that crime, because this story was about to come out with the O.J. Simpson and Nicole death, but they buried all of that information, paid off all the families. And she said after he was acquitted, she changed her major to philosophy or psychology, double major. And she said she understood that I could not harm society more than not if I pursued law. This is also why I abhor the Kardashians. They are rich thugs, nothing more.
Wow. That's telling, isn't it?
It is telling.
Money talks. Money, that's all we can say is that money talks.
Money talks. And it's so sad that people are willing to put in the name of football or money in regards to people's well-being. You battered and raped two women and it was covered up. just to be a star and to make that college more popular than what it is. It's the more money you have, the better lawyers you have. You can probably turn around and say an elephant can hang off a small twig off the edge of a cliff and not fall off it, or not fall off it. You know, that's what they could actually prove. It's a sad old world we live in, and we're hearing that more and more. And even with the story I reported yesterday about the MP who gave Grinder, which is what you're laughing about, gave his Grinder friend
Keep talking
12
about this Grinder.
12 MP numbers. And the funny thing is, and I came back to that story because I listen to LBC every day. It's always on in my car. And now when this story first hit, one of the MPs came on and said, we think it's the Russians. You know, the Russians are involved in this, giving out numbers and sending texts and honey traps. And it happened to be an MP, but they were quick to blame the Russians. Why is it the Russians are to blame? It's not the Russians. It was your MP going on Grinder. That's what it was. Now, DJ Rudy says there's more. I'm sure there's more about O.J. Simpson. When someone has a pattern of behaviour, it does continue. It doesn't just go away. If you're a sociopath, you don't just take some pills and it goes away. You're going to keep going on your little killing spree until such time someone catches you. And that's with O.J. Simpson. So, she was just like, burn in hell, OJ. She weren't too sad that he had died. He had committed some crimes and got away with it. Just like Jimmy Savile. I still feel burnt about Jimmy Savile. This is why I can't pay my TV license. I just cannot pay it. I will never ever pay it again with all that money going to it. The BBC should have turned around and said no one has to pay a license fee for 5-10 years due to the fact that we were paying him off. And I think those things need to happen. Whenever there's a catastrophe, whenever someone's done wrong, right, something needs to go back to the people that have paid for it for a bad service. Just like I said about Ofwat, in terms of the water. Now, I'm moving off subjects here. So let's just play a track and we'll come back on to another subject before I start ranting.
I can hear it in the background.
That I wanted to show. I just found it, actually. It's very interesting, but I'll do that after the next track. Now, when I was speaking earlier on, a video inveigled itself in there, and I've been wanting to play this for a little while. Now, Jamaicans, I love Jamaica. I love Jamaicans because we are so creative. When we don't have something, we make it, right? The overseer of Jamaica makes something. They make some music. They make a bike. Let's have a look at. Excuse the language. I know it's early, but this is Jamaica. Watch this.
Only in Jamaica, the bad bad. What is that?
I can't believe man turned his couch into a car and driving it down the road. The man actually made this makeshift car and decided to take it for a ride in Jamaica. Only in Jamaica. Only in Jamaica that can happen. And I've seen some of that happen before. So, we are creative. That's what I'm going to say. We are creative people.
Creative people, definitely.
Now, moving on to some other news now. So, for all you home workers, be careful out there, all right? Because at the end of the day, your bosses could be tracking you, especially if they have proper trackers going on. Now, luckily, I haven't worked in any workplaces where they check your finger or keystrokes, as they call it. So there's a computer equipment that can check how many times your fingers are on the keyboard in any 1 hour, any one day. Now, she went viral. This was last year, actually, after her employer used this technology to see how much work she was doing whilst working from home. Now, she attempted to bring a claim of unfair dismissal against this company called IAG, but it was rejected in last year after it found that the firm had a valid reason of misconduct to let her go. Now, how did this company go about finding how much work she'd done? Now, they were monitored via a keystroke technology, which looked at work activity on 49 days. So it wasn't just one day, this was 49 days between October and December 2022. Now, the review concluded that she started late on 47 days, while she finished early on 29 of the days.
Oh, wow.
And that wasn't all. it was discovered that she did no work on 4 of the days, while her keyboard pressing was not the highest on the days that she was actually working. On average, she pressed her keyboard around 54 times an hour during the periods that she was being monitored. So she's saying it's embarrassing for her now because she can't get another job. You know, her name's gone out there. No one will touch her with a barge pole. I don't blame them. You can't do that little work. You just can't. That's just not possible. That's
taking the mickey, mate. And that's her working from home.
That is her working from home. But I suspect that was with a lot of people during the COVID days, you know. I think a fair few people did not do a lot of work or these keystroke technologies. But what you need to do is that you need to find some sort of app that presses your keys or something, or hire a little young person to just tap the keyboard. Pay them a couple pounds an hour.
Play a kid and just say tap the keyboard all day long.
Just tap the keyboard. Play a game, do whatever you want, tap the keyboard.
Oh, that was funny.
Should be done. But you know, I did have a little whizzy mouse that moved.
Oh, the jiggler.
The jiggler.
The jiggler. That's
the
one.
jiggler.
That's one. People, you know, if you want to seem like you're working and you want to keep the online activity, you just got the jiggler and it just jiggles the mouse. I told someone about that. They said I need that jiggler.
It's saved my life on a few occasions. I'm telling you. So it's literally like a little USB key. I've got one here. It is literally a little USB key. It's called the mouse jiggler. And you put it in there and the mouse just moves around on the screen. Because you know, if you don't move on your screen shuts down, right?
Yeah,
goes into screensaver mode. And if you are online, it takes you as being away or offline. So it just looks like you're offline. Well, this little invention here, make sure your screen stays on all day. It moves the mouse around so your screen stays on. It's absolutely brilliant. Those of you who want it, let me know. I will give you the link. It's available in Amazon. They're absolutely brilliant. So, you know, if you need to get away for an hour or two and you need to look like you're online, you get one of these.
It's called a COVID mouse jiggler.
It worked wonders for me to go shopping and swimming and all of that good stuff. It is. And just reading back off the Mixcloud chat because it's coming through so late. I'm so sorry. Susan Simpson said, after what HPQ said, donate to medical science. Yes, for those who don't know, as soon as I die, someone's got to make a phone call to the nearest medical science unit that I've got to identify now. I've moved to Wolverhampton. I've got to get that sorted. And it goes off. I'm going to leave my hair. I was going to maybe leave a hand or something that, you know, someone can burn and make a flower or something. But I'm quite adamant about that, about leaving my money to my children and not giving it off to, why are we paying these funeral parlours all this money? We are keeping them in some serious jobs and living a life of wonder. I'm telling you, I'm sure it doesn't cost all that much money for them to do what they're doing. So it's a money making scheme, people, of which we've been sold into at the best of times, you know. And I think, you know, and everyone wants to have these lovely ornate coffins that may be costing, I don't know, thousands of pounds, and they're not, I don't even know if they're actually buried in that particular coffin. Are they buried in it, or do they take it and put it in something else and put that into the grave, or is it that big expensive one? I don't know. But anyway, it's up to people in terms of the way in which they want to go. I'm not here to pass judgment on anybody. So my condolences to anyone that may have lost anyone quite recently. Now, Touch T says USB stick that moves your mouse so it won't go to sleep. Yes, that's correct. That's the one. Won't make it go to sleep. And it's also very good. One of the reasons why I got it is because when I do editing off my other laptop, it tends to go to sleep when it's actually producing a video. And if it goes to sleep when I'm leaving it to produce this video, which could take an hour, it stops. So initially I got it to stop my computer going to sleep when I was editing, so I didn't have to sit there looking at it for a whole hour. And then I realised, oh, it's got other uses here. This is very good.
The jiggler.
The
COVID
jiggler.
mouse jiggler to avoid work.
Now, the other thing that I want to speak about in the news that dominated some of the news last week. Now, I don't know if you know, oh God, what was her name? Who was the woman that was married to Russell Simmons again? Russell Simmons' ex-wife. Because their daughter, she had 2 daughters, right? And one of them is called Aoki. And she was photographed and Russell Simmons was, music producer. He also did the Baby Fat branding, the jeans and things that came out, or Baby Fat clothing. And he was married to a supermodel who was actually good friends with Gail Porter, P. Diddy's deceased ex-wife. Now, Kimora Simmons, that's it, Kimora, her name is. And she's got 2 daughters, and one of her daughters was in the news the other day. She was pictured kissing a man. Thank you, Susan Simpson. Kimora Lee Simmons, yeah, I got it in the end. She was pictured kissing a man on the beach. Now, why would that go viral, anyone says? Well, the reason why it went viral is because this is her daughter. She's 21 years old, and the man that she was kissing on the beach is 65 years old. 65 years old. When that came out in the newspapers, it was out everywhere. People wondering why a 65-year-old is kissing a 21-year-old young girl. It didn't. I believe in whoever you fall in love with, you fall in love with. But the age gap was so apparent. It's unbelievable. This girl's 21 and he's 65. What is it that's attracted to her exactly? What do you think it could be?
Money?
Nah, it can't be the money. I reckon it's the grey hair, the saggy belly, the grey hair. I don't know. 65, 21. I mean, he's older than her dad. What is this 65-year-old? After the picture came out, swiftly she put out there, oh, I guess everyone knows now. And then afterwards, all of a sudden, they're not dating anymore. Magically, they're not dating anymore. Too much pressure. But it just looked wrong. Lots of people comment. For me, it just looks wrong. And Susan Simpson, the apple don't fall far from the tree. Mum did the same. Now, apparently, yeah, you're correct. Apparently, Russell met Kimora when she was 15. When she was 15 years old, he started dating her when she was 17 years old. So what is it with people and these young girls? What 17, 16, they don't even know about, they're not even young girls are not even worldly at that age. Some are. I must admit, some are. I can't account for all women. But what is it with older men liking young girls? What is the fixation, Sharky? Tell us, please.
Anybody in the mixed cloud like to answer that one?
Come on.
Maybe it's excitement, the thought of, you know what, right, they've gone through life with, a load of old bags moaning or whatever it is. And think,
I can't believe you said old bags. Are you calling us old mixed clouders? Sharky just said we are old bags.
I did not say you. I said a load of old bags. That could be meaning other people. Don't mean you, right? I'm not calling you an old bag.
So the rest of us then. Mixed clouders, he's saying you're old bags.
Not the rest. Nah. Jokes aside. It could be anything. I mean, it could be ego. It could be, the fact of obviously it's a chance. So some people's attitude is where, you know what, I'm gone soon, so I'm going to die happy with whatever it is I want. I mean, to a man, it's just, yes, a young woman, but I just think it's mostly just the fact of fun and excitement, But in reality, anybody of age knows something like that is really going to last, something like it's not really. I mean, I do know of somebody who in their 50s that were with somebody at 22 and they have got a baby and they've been together now, I think about 11 or 12 years. I think she must be in about 30, maybe at 32, 33 now, and he's near enough heading towards 60 now. And that relationship has laughed. I didn't think it would, but it has. So
yeah, I remember an ex-boyfriend of mine. He had a friend of his that was married to his wife. They built up a business for over 30 years, and he left her for the receptionist who was about 18 years old. And this little young dangly thing just had nothing to say at the best of times. I think when we went out, didn't have any source of conversation, and just looked pretty. That was it. And he uplifted his whole life just for someone who looked pretty. She didn't even have the sense to be able to hold a conversation. But, for some people, that's all you need. Just hang on my arm and look pretty. That's all you need to do.
Yeah, some guys, that's what they inspire to. That's what they want,
Well, if there's any men out there that want a woman just to look pretty on their arm, I'm your girl. Sorry, Sharky. You know, if we're gonna live the life, right, of that, I'm going on private jets, go where I want, get my nails done all the time, and I haven't got to pull out my credit card. Hey, if you're out there, let me know. Sharky, it's over.
Goodbye, HPQ.
Bye. Ah, yes, back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm just reading on the Mixcloud now. G4 says the documentary about Russell Simmons is very disturbing. And Touch T says, Miss Sugar Sweet said, is he not part of Run DMC? No, he's not part of Run DMC. And Touch T says, shame on you. Russell Simmons is the co-founder of Def Jam Records and Reverend Run of Run DMC's brother. So he's the brother of Run DMC. You were very close.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking about now. Yeah.
Yes. Now, the documentary that G-Force is talking about, it's called On the Record. And it was kind of like the fourth documentary that was released since the beginning of the Me Too movement. And it highlights allegations of sexual abuse against men in power, including, let's have a look. Sorry, I'm lying. They were talking about the other films. I'm reading this article because I didn't actually watch this film. But basically, it's about allegations of rape, sexual abuse, and all these things that are going on in the industry. Now, I haven't seen this documentary, so it's going to be on my next playlist as soon as I come off the show. I'm going to have to watch this.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to watch it. I mean, I actually, to be honest, you forgot a lot of the names. So, okay, thank you very much for that, Touch T.
Yeah. So the film actually centres, as I said, on sexual assault and harassment levied against Def Jam co-founder Russell Simmons, and it features interviews on over 20 women who have accused him. Over 20 women have accused him of this. Why was he not taken to court or anything? Was there a lawsuit against him? What's going on? Why
was he another Puff Daddy? Was he another Puffy? Like power?
What is it with men and power? I don't understand. Men, power, and young women, it just all goes hand in hand. But I've got to say something about that industry, the hip-hop industry or the R&B industry, especially the music that's coming out now. It's nowhere near the music that we had in the 80s or 90s. The music now, I can't even listen to anything new in terms of hip-hop or R&B because of the type of music it is, the expletives. I mean, you ever go onto Spotify and try and find a hip-hop track, every track is like E, explicit. It's pure explicit lyrics in there. And the videos just show off women twerking, wearing as little clothes as possible. And I don't know. It's like as the world goes on, we're wearing less and less. We want to identify whatever gender we want to be, a fox, a giraffe, and all those kind of things. Wear less clothes. And if you look at Bianca Censori, Kanye West's wife, I watch her avidly in her clothes. She don't wear no clothes. If she moves to the side slightly, something is going to get revealed. And I don't understand what it is that you have to show all of your body. Why not leave it for people to see what's underneath it all? You don't have to show every piece of nipple, breast, private parts on screen. But I suppose it is the way of the world now. Maybe I should go out like that. Borrow one of her outfits and say, yeah, I'm out. You know, like just a bodysuit, like a real cut up bodysuit showing all these bits and pieces. I don't know.
Belt buckle for you.
A belt buckle, yeah. You know, one of those belt straps and just have it across here.
No, I mean to beat you with it. That's what I'm talking about. To beat you about, to wear it.
Well, there's a new fashion of belt buckle tops, you know. They are in fashion at the moment. Now, Adelaide said he ran off, fled the country. That's why he couldn't say nothing about his daughter with the man. He couldn't say a word. His daughter probably looked round at him and said, well, you do it, Dad, so why are you telling me off? But at least she was over the legal age. She's 21, not 17 or 15, like some of these young girls that people are actually talking about. And Sugar Sweet says, sex, lies, and videotapes. All of it is. Yes, it is. But if you want to get away from the world, especially if life is getting you down about all this stuff about producers abusing, harassing, kidnapping, trafficking, and especially for you, DJ Rudy, because you say you work at home, and for you, Lady B, who works from home full time. Now, Italy is inviting UK digital nomads. They are invited to live in Italy for a year under a new visa scheme. Okay, so under the scheme, anyone earning more than 24,000 can stay in the country for up to 12 months. Now, here's the caveat. Applicants must have a university or college degree and at least 6 months in the industry in which they intend to work remotely. They must also provide evidence of a place to stay in Italy and obtain private medical insurance for between £300 and £750 a year. So, if you want to go and work in a lovely country like Italy, they're inviting anyone who wants to work from home, so long as you've been in the industry, so long as you've got a degree and you get your medical insurance and you've got a place to live, go Italy. Why not? Come out of this country. Come out. Come out. Now, there are different versions of the digital...
Get out.
Get out, as Christos would say.
Out.
Get out. Now, there are different versions of this digital nomad visa, and they operate in several countries around the world, and they are being offered by Thailand, Indonesia, Spain, Barbados. I didn't get that accent right at all, but I tried a thing. The United Arab Emirates and Mexico. So if you fancy any one of these adoring countries to go to work from home, go. Go.
I'm going Mexico.
But that's if your employers will allow it, because my employers will say you can work anywhere in the world, but it actually turned out to be anywhere in the UK. And the system won't boot up, or even if you're in another country, they won't give you access because the VPN recognises it and all sorts of things.
That's what you use the VMP, isn't it?
Yeah. The private VPN, but it was a government VPN. it was a government institution I was working for, and if they found out, then that's my job gone. So I played it safe. Anywhere in the UK, yes, I did, and I had my little jiggler.
The jiggler, yeah.
You could put it on for a whole 24 hours and act like you was at work for a whole 24 hours, and you're in another country. It's brilliant, and then you use your phone to log onto Teams and Outlook.
Jiggle it.
Oh dear. No, we mustn't do that. We mustn't do that. That's not good. But anyway, for those of you who want to, Italy, Thailand, United Emirates, Mexico, you can choose.
There you go.
And let's hope so. Now, we were talking about Bianca Sensori, and I could go out in an outfit like this. What do you reckon? I think I would look good in that. That's my next outfit.
That's a Willow outfit, that is.
I just hang Willow over me.
That's a Willow outfit. That looks like Willow. She's carrying Willow around. Yeah.
Yeah. Or if I'm just popping to the shops, that's an outfit. I could wear.
That one's not too bad.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but we're just walking to the shops.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, if you want attention, what's the best way to get the attention to get noticed? And going out like that, if you're one of those people that like to be noticed, you want to be out there and you want to be consistently in the newspapers, consistently photoed, that's the way to get noticed.
Yeah,
might not be the best way, but
it definitely is.
People will turn heads. It will turn heads.
Isn't that right, Willow? Willow's looking at me. Like, don't you dare.
Hang Willow over you. Let's see what you look like.
I could wear her like that.
There you go.
I just hang a string here and there, and then just have her as my top, and that's it. Have nothing else on in it, Willow. Would you come out with me? Bless her. She's like, why have you dragged me up? I was comfortable. Anyway, so as we're talking about music and price hikes, Spotify is hiking their prices for millions of people. So for those of you that love a Spotify, like my dear self, right?
And me.
Premium plans jumping up by 13%, and users are furious and threatening to cancel their subscriptions. They have more than 600 million users worldwide, and Spotify is one of the biggest apps. Now, they're fuming because they're saying that they're going to raise the price. This is the second time in less than a year. And all three of their premium subscriptions are going up by as much as 13%. So the individual plan goes from $10.99 to $11.99 a month. Duo goes from $14.99 a month to $16.99 a month. And family is now a whopping $99 a month, gone up by $17.99 a month. So each of the plans gone up by £1, £2, £3 or whatever. Yes.
In all fairness, I think it's quite a fair deal. I think, for the amount of music that you got access to every month, and the artist needs to get paid, and people don't realize. I mean, to run Spotify is a big operation, and if you've got millions of people using it and listening to people's artists, I mean, you can get everybody. We've got people that we know that put music out on Spotify, and they need to make money somehow, and to pay 13 or to pay £10, £11 a month, even if it was to go up to £15 or £20 a month, I actually think it still would be worth it.
Okay, right. So just did a quick calculation.
I'm not saying that I want it to go to that price, but I'm just saying, individually, you're getting access to so much music and we know what some people do with Spotify, don't we?
Yeah, we do know what they do. But, is it because they haven't got enough money to pay the artists, or is it because they want to make more profits? I kind of need to get that straight, because the artists are kicking up a fuss over platforms like Spotify, in which they're saying they're not being paid enough unless you are a top artist like Beyonce. So where does this money go? So they have over 600 million users. Now, if you just take $10.99, for example, for 1 month, times by over 600 million people. You do the maths.
It's a lot of money.
Do the maths.
But I'm sure, obviously there is profit that goes in that as well. And the artists obviously do need to get paid more. I think it's not so much a lot of the artists, a lot of the companies. Because remember, they have to pay for the rights to allow people to use Spotify. So there's a lot of costs that go on in the background, but I'm sure, yes, you're right, there is a lot of profit as well. But you know what, if it wasn't here, what would we do?
We would use, what was that streaming platform that we used to use in the old Napster?
Napster and the
do you
other
remember
one,
Napster?
Napster and LimeWire.
LimeWire and Napster, right? And then Napster got all buggy, all full of bugs.
But it's a legal platform, that and iTunes, and then you've got Diesel and various other ones. But what will we do? We got access to music, so I'm not complaining about the £1 rise.
And so what about the artists that don't get paid? Because Spotify recently also turned around and said any artist that streams less than 1,000 streams are not going to get paid for it anymore now.
Well,
so
then that's down to the artist, for me, whether you want your music on the platform or not. So they have a choice of, well, if they're not going to pay me, then don't put your music on the platform.
Okay. But I still think that's a little bit wrong. Why would they pay them for less than 1,000 streams? Every artist that produces music that's getting paid, regardless of how many streams or not, should be paid. And, I think it's something like, is it 6 pence or something, 3 pence? It's something crazy in terms of what you earn off an actual stream. So, I do feel it for them.
I do a little research and find out where the money goes.
Well, they will say, just like what Mixcloud says, it's gone up to make sure the platform is working very, very well. And Spotify, I got to give it to them. I use Spotify a lot, and it has got a huge library of music, and more music gets added on all the time. But again, it's just everything's just going up. Everything's becoming unaffordable. And what people don't realise, we have to pay for StreamYard, we then have to pay for Mixcloud, and we have to pay for Spotify. That's 3 lots. That's nearly £100 in a month, just to be able to bring you the news and stream music, people. So just remember, anybody wants to give a tip and the other pound to Mixcloud, well, you're very, 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 very welcome, people, because it does cost money. A bit like Zoom, when we used to bring you to Zoom, it does cost. But, that's not down to you guys. We like to bring music to you. And just make sure you guys are okay. Now, another piece of news very quickly as well. Do you know, this is in terms of drivers, we've been punished so many times over the years in terms of driving on the roads, bringing the speeds down to 20 miles an hour. Every council there got some lights or some cameras ready to fine you when you go, whenever you do anything. But drivers are actually paying something like 5.5 million a day to councils in terms of parking fines. 5.5 million a day. Now, these councils, in terms of these cameras and all the things that they do to catch drivers, it's not supposed to be a money-making scheme. And I reckon more and more cameras are put into diverse places to ensure that they rake in the cash, knowing that people will will get caught. But 5.5 million is ridiculous. That amounts to 2 billion every year for councils. Now, there are plans to put parking charges up by as much as 60% this month to fund councils' budgeting shortfalls. So if you are under some of these councils who have gone into section 51, you're going to realise that your parking charges are probably going to go up, especially with the likes of Birmingham Council. I know I smile every time I say this. I'm so glad I didn't move to Birmingham in that sense because of the council tax price hikes as well. But the price of parking is now going up. Now they're saying in West Yorkshire it's going to be hit by the highest and the biggest parking fees of 60%. Now the Department of Levelling Up says motorists shelled out 1.93 billion in fees and fines in 12 months in the year up until April 2023. It was up 1.7 billion from the previous year. 1.7 billion from the previous year. What is going on?
I'll tell you what, I'm just looking for a letter that came through my letterbox the other day with these fines. It's really absolutely ridiculous. I've been driving around my area for the last 40 years. And, I was going down to my brother's and driving down this road and did a left turn into a main sort of artery road in my area. And obviously went to my brother's, and on my way back, my niece turned around and said, "This is a one-way, you can only go up this way." And I said, "One way? I've just come down." She said, "It's a one-way," and I thought, no way. And she said, "Yeah." So I looked at the cars, I saw a couple of cars facing the other direction, and I thought, nah, she can't be. Got to the top of the road, I said, "Please don't tell me there's cameras up there." Got to the top of the road, there were cameras there. She was absolutely right. I waited for it. Fine come through my door for £130. It's ridiculous. And the thing about it, this is the way that they put the signs, unless you're, obviously I know you're supposed to be paying a lot of attention, but obviously if you're used to driving around the area, you're not even going to think that a road like that's going to be converted to a one-way or changed to a one-way. And they've changed it to a one-way. So, and this is the third time that I've been caught out with one of these signs. Going into a school area was one. I didn't realise I'd gone through. I didn't even notice that there was a school sign, and you're forking out money. So they must be catching up people left, right, and centre, making so much money. And everywhere you go, there's a camera pointing down a road. I'm like thinking, what's this camera? I'm now looking for cameras now instead of signs.
I'm telling you, it's what we call a cash cow. They are earning money from something just so insignificant as just trying to catch people just to bulk up their coffers, I could say. And Adelaide McKenzie says legal scams, 130 them a scam.
Yeah,
it's
a definite legal scam. It's a legal scam, a legal way of forcing money out your pocket. And what are they doing with the money? I mean, are they fixing the roads? You're going down the roads and there's potholes everywhere, which is causing damage to your tires and wear and tear. And, they're not putting up proper road signs and, there's things that need fixing on the roads and they're not doing it.
I know. And it's a bit like on the motorways when they say, it's 60 miles an hour, then it's 50, then it goes back up to the speed limit. You're forever checking what limits are coming up when and making sure that you don't surpass them. And I almost think they're doing this to just catch people on the motorways. Why do they want to slow down people on the motorway? Why is it not like the German Autobahn system where you do whatever speed you want to? I need to find out what the rate of accidents is there in comparison to the UK. I know it is quite low.
Quite low. Mm.
But for some reason, they won't do that in the UK. Now, Delight says LTNs are killing London. They are absolutely killing the high streets, killing the local businesses, which is why everybody's going online. Nobody wants to walk into a shop anymore. Now, G4 says, I got the same thing in Dalston, Sharky. I turned left onto Dalston Lane, and he's probably going to say something else here, whereby he's come into something or a road that he can't go down anymore, and you're going to get a fine. There's no first-time chances. And I think... On the flip side of that, we should be paying attention to road signs. We can't just be driving and thinking this is just a normal road, just drive down it as I do. We should always be on the lookout for road signs, for what's happening, whether we can go down that road, whether it's a cul-de-sac, the speed limits. We're supposed to be paying attention. So us saying, well, we've always driven down that road and didn't see the sign is not an excuse, because obviously,
I agree with you there.
Obviously in the rules and regulations, you're supposed to look out for it. So that's the thing now. We've got to drive and make sure you check all road signs and just don't take it for granted that this road is going to be a normal road to drive down.
And you know, and I get that with, you know, somewhere you don't know, but when you're so used to like many years and you sort of go into an area, automatically your brain is like, automatically there's, you go down, there's no signs on the road to make it very clear that, because normally you've got the double yellow line, the double lines, the junction lines to let you know that, it's a one way and, obvious. It wasn't very obvious for me when I went round the corner. By the time I passed it, it was right at the top. I didn't even realize it. So people are going to get caught at left, right and centre. I mean, going onto the roads again with the 20 miles an hour thing now. I mean, I was coming back from South London and I was like 20 miles an hour all the way back. And now they know you're not going to do 20 miles an hour. And the speed cameras that set up normally, I think it's like 10% plus 2 or 3 miles an hour, something like that. You get flashed. So if you're in that area, you're doing 20 miles an hour and you're doing 25 miles an hour, you're going to get flashed.
Unfortunately, right? So.
And then you're going to get a 65 or 130 pound fine. It is absolutely ridiculous. Or do I look all right? Is it okay? Or shave it off or shape it up? What do you reckon?
Yeah, well, everyone could always do with a shape and a shave and looking good. There's nothing wrong with that. You suddenly saw yourself close up and thought, oh, gosh, I need to do something about this. Yeah, I do that with my hair sometimes. Like, you mean my hair look like this? But anyway, talking about motoring and cars and things, I miss the good old days, Years ago, we could get away with anything, couldn't we? You could get on a bus and try and get away with not paying the fare. We used to do fraudulent passes where you used to scratch out the numbers or print them over. You could get away with running through the train barriers.
You old.
I'm telling you. Now, with car insurance, right? Remember the good old days when you could get car insurance and lie about what accidents you had, lie about your no claims bonus, and lie about all sorts of things. You could get insurance quite cheap. None of that can happen now. Nothing of like that can happen now. If you are going for your car insurance, first of all, they're asking for your license so they can do a DVLA check, so to see if you've got any points. So there's no getting away with, I haven't got any points and lying. They can check now direct with the DVLA. Before they give you insurance, they're checking that. Secondly, what they're checking is accidents. You could lie and say, nope, never had an accident. Hope that you didn't have an accident. Hope that you would never claim, because the insurance companies then could find out. Now, they're all collaborating together. Finally, they're all talking. Because I went to do some insurance the other day. And they're like, this is not right. What do you mean it's not right? I've put in all my details. Well, there was an accident I forgot about. I thought it was out. It was over the 3 years, but it wasn't. And they were just like, it just refused. So it's on a database somewhere, people. So if you've had an accident, all right, if you've got points on your license, you're not getting away with any of that no more. You've got to pay what they're saying you should pay for that also. It's terrible. You can't do nothing. No fraudulent business anymore. There's nothing you can do to get away with anything. You've just got to pay the cost. Now, the other thing that people used to do, I did this for my first car, I believe, where you put your parents' name on the car, or you put someone that's living somewhere. I used to have a friend that used to live in Southampton. Yeah, registered my car there for cheaper insurance. Or you put your parents on to bring the insurance down and you put yourself as a driver. Well, none of that can happen anymore now. And it's called fronting, where a car owner adds a parent or a relative as the main driver of their vehicle to try and bring the cost down. You just add yourself on as an additional driver. Nah. The insurance companies are cotton on to that as well, because it will count as fraud now if your parents are not actually the main drivers of the car and they find out, especially if you've been in an accident. And what I don't understand about insurances now is where they're getting these big excesses from. Why are we getting insurance that says you can get an excess of £700? Why?
It's because they want you to take a lot of that responsibility if you take that hit.
So what's the point of having insurance? They're supposed to take the hit. You pay all that money every month to make sure your car's insured, but now they're saying to get a cheaper insurance, take a bigger excess. And I did that for my insurance before I got my new car, because the likelihood of me having an accident is quite low. I haven't had an accident in years, touch wood. But you just never know.
Yeah, you won't know. But I'll
You
tell you
never
what,
know.
I'm insured with Sheila's wheels, which I thought was for women. They now insure men. But I had an accident the other day.
It'd be
and guess-
sexist if they did
guess-
that.
Yeah, guess how much my excess was?
How much?
£50.
Wow. That's good. That's good
And
excess.
my insurance was low. So guys, check out Sheila's wheels if you're going to renew your insurance. And at first, I was a bit unsure because getting through to them was murder. But after I had the accident and, got online and got through to them, it was quite decent that, I was able to get through. So, yeah, big up Sheila's wheels. £50 excess. Yeah, boom. I'm sure my next insurance is going to be doubled now, you know what I mean?
I was going to say they're just being light. They're just being nice to you. Yeah, we'll just reel him in with this, and we'll sting him for a bigger amount.
And the thing about it is, the two accidents that I've had recently, one, somebody crashed in the side of me. They've taken the full blame for it. They've taken responsibility and said, yep, it's our fault, and paid out. And the second accident, I wasn't even in my car. I was away. I wasn't even at home. And somebody came down the wrong way and they hit my car. And because of that now, my insurance is going to go right through the sky roof.
I know. And I never...
Even my fault. And I just don't get that with insurance. What's the purpose of putting it up if the accident is totally not yours? If somebody else has taken the blame, they've said, like, it's our fault, we're paying out for it, and the insurance is... But they're going to put the insurance up, another insurance company will put the insurance up because I've claimed. So it's a thief. It's a thief. A thief, them thief.
It's a massive thief, because on my last insurance as well, there was I thought my car had been stolen.
Oh, yeah.
And I left it outside the shop.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
I left it outside the shop round the corner. Can you believe that? I drove to the shop, and I don't normally drive to the shop. And I walked out the shop thinking I'm just walking home, and left the car there all night, and woke up in the morning thinking, where's my car? It's been stolen. Rang up the insurance company, speaking to my neighbour outside. He goes, I'm sure I saw your car outside the sweet shop. Ran up there. The car's there. Felt so stupid. But it was registered on the insurance, even though I didn't claim, even though I rang them back and said, I found the car, don't log this. They logged it. And it went against another insurance I was trying to get for another year. So I had to phone them back and say, get rid of this. I didn't claim. I just rang up. I said, I found my car. Take this off, please. And Adelaide Mackenzie says, credit check database computer, time for Trust the Lord to clear and delete the Babylon system of corruption. Saying that, at least it should be less fraud, but Lord, keep us. And she says, shame on you, HPQ, you forget what I did. It's not that I forgot where I parked. I don't normally drive to the shop, but I came back from somewhere and drove to the shop and came out the shop thinking, I just walked there and left the car there.
I remember that. He rang me up saying, my car's been stolen. Oh,
it's so embarrassing. Yes, it was shame. I'm freely there to admit it. Shame, shame, shame.
Shame.
But let's have a little dilemma here. Because the good old days also consisted of the fact that when we got pregnant, we could go to the council and say, I need a council flat. Council will be obliged to give us a flat. All young women in our era, if you're in the 50 plus eras, most of us got our council flats. My mum said, I don't want you here anymore. Fine, I'm going. I went to the council flat, took my son under my arm and went, my mum don't want me here. Give me a flat. Before the end of the day, I was in a flat. 4 years later, I've got my own flat with the council. And then I left it and bought my own house. But those good old days have gone. And you used to be able to go onto a council waiting list, especially if you were a single guy, and within a few years you could get a council flat. And I remember as young people, our parents telling us, go put your name on the council flat tenancy list so you can get a flat. And that's how most people got themselves into housing. Now these days, with the population as how we have it, with the gates open to accept any person into this country, we don't have that luxury anymore. And the days of getting a council flat because you're pregnant have gone. It's not that easy anymore. Now, a single mum on benefits, right, has got 2 sets of twins and is stuck in a tiny flat, and the council have told her to wait 11 years for a bigger place. 11 years.
Wow.
And she's stuck with two sets of twins. And she says she feels like she's been abandoned by the council. And she was added to the housing list and then fell pregnant again with this second set of twins. And while she was 6 months pregnant, she was asking if she could move into a larger flat. She was given a housing assessment. And then she was claimed that once she's given birth, a more suitable property would be made available and that she's eligible for a 3-bedroom house. However, our sons were born in November. She said she'd told to be patient and bid for homes along with others in the same situation. And since then, her emails and calls have been ignored, and the housing officer that's been assigned to her has blocked her number. Now, she said that the council informed her in January that applications for 3-bedroom properties in the area are typically only considered after someone has been on the waiting list 11 years. But that smaller 2-bedroom properties are also currently unavailable. Now, it's a hard situation to be in, but should the council be responsible for just providing housing for people just because they're pregnant and got children, or should we be responsible for our housing? And I shouldn't say this, because if it wasn't for the council or council housing, I couldn't have got onto the housing list or been housed or done anything. But the fact that now we've got people expecting just to be housed because they've got more kids and the council should be doing that, is that the case? Should they be doing that? Or should you be out there looking for yourself? The fact of the matter is, there is no housing out there. It's not like you can say, okay, I won't worry about the council, I'll go and rent privately, because the private rents are unaffordable. The housing stock is completely limited. So we're in this little bit of a circle here in terms of people coming over, and we've got the asylum seekers that want to come over and be housed. We've got to put them somewhere.
That is a sore bone of contention just there.
It is, and it's a hard one, because we should be looking after people who are seeking asylum, who are otherwise in trouble from their own country.
Yeah.
But when we've got bands of people on boats and everything coming over, and then we've got to house them at the same time, and we're wondering why councils are broke. If you're wondering why councils are broke, this is one of the reasons as well, because of the overbearing population that they've got in their jurisdiction. And they've now got to create more money to look after the elderly, the young, all the children have got more and more issues. Before, we used to just about deal with dyslexia. Now we've got ADHD, this whole SEN part of the curriculum and looking after children. And so where are councils going to get the money from? Now, I know that they've been working their money into other schemes that have failed and lost a lot of money. But at the same time, there's only a finite amount in that pot, and there's only a finite amount of people that they can look after. So it's really difficult. You know, do we feel sorry for people that have got housing, that want bigger, that demanded bigger housing just because you've got more kids? Or should we be looking after our own? Should we be saying no to the asylum seekers so we can get more housing stock? Are we then going to turn around and say as people that we are just not conscious on a level of being empathic? I don't know. It's a big question out there. And like I said, if it wasn't for council housing, I couldn't have got myself on the housing ladder. But demands for bigger housing and things like that, I don't know. It's different. This day of the world is different. And I do feel sorry for people that are trying to get onto the housing ladder, or in a housing association, or in a council flat, or stuck in that wheel of not being able to get out of it. Because I'm sure everyone in council accommodation might not always want to stay there, paying empty money and never owning your own property. That's what we call it, right? Empty money. Because you're not going to get any kind of benefit back from it, from paying that. It's not like you can pull money out your council flat and say, you know, I'm going to take some money out and get a loan and do up my house. It's a lot different.
Yeah. I mean, it's difficult. I mean, even for, you know, people to leave their parents' house and to try and get somewhere to live, youngsters, to start off in life, it's just so expensive now. It's almost impossible if you haven't got a good job, you know, you're working somewhere, you know, not everyone's going to come out with a, you know, degree and go into a high paying money job. And some people obviously going to get paid low money, and the money just is not, as they would say in Jamaica, it just won't stretch. So what did they do?
Right. Let me read out some comments in the Mixcloud. Lady B says private landlords are charging 3 to 4 times more than the council. Also, people have holiday homes that are locked up for most of the time. G4 says, I blame Right to Buy for the shortage of council homes. And Touch T says, councils is to blame for selling off lands to private investment firms. Even though firms have an obligation to rehouse a percentage of council tenants, it's not enough. Now, a couple of things I want to say on this. I don't work for them no more, so it's a good thing. I worked, my last contract that just recently ended was with Homes England. Homes England are the government establishment that was set up to address the housing shortage in the UK. They've been given a pot of billions of money to unlock land. So the scheme was set up to unlock land, greenbelt land as well, to try and get their hands on greenbelt land, unlock land, release the red tape around councils and planning permissions and things, and work with developers and local authorities to build homes in the UK with a percentage that would be made for social housing, i.e. cheaper housing. Now, I worked on several projects with the senior project managers in terms of these new builds and regeneration projects that are going on, and they are fabulous. Like Stockport is being regenerated, which is near Manchester. There's a whole big they're regenerating the city centre, building some housing around that, building roads, schools. So we're talking about big infrastructures, some like that, not just housing, but the land and towns and roads and bridges and schools and everything such as that. So the whole build can be very, very expensive. What people don't realise is that COVID made everything expensive, and a lot of these developers went bust. Even though they'd been given a lot of money from Homes England, a lot of them went bust during it, and local authorities either couldn't afford it. There's also the red tape, the planning permissions, and there's also when you have to deal with the water and the gas companies and any other companies, like national highways are a nightmare. And so is water and so is gas, and all these things have to be laid first before the homes. Now, also on top of that, the developers were being a little bit unscrupulous, and the percentage of social housing that they set out to put in slowly was being reduced, I could see in some projects. And I'm sitting there thinking, but you promised to build 400 houses out of these 1,000 to give to social housing. Now you're saying you can only build 100 and they can get away with it? It's all
backhanders going on there.
I don't know what's going on there, but there's certainly some stuff going on in there. Now, this company was supposed to help unlock land, and it just feels like they are more locked into battles than they are. And a lot of these projects are not getting... They were in the spotlight a few months ago. There was an article that came out, it was in my old email, I wish I kept it, where they were battered by the public. Now, the company I worked for were also responsible for Help to Buy. In fact, the help desk was just 2 desks away from me. And Help to Buy scheme had taken a bashing because when it left from Homes England, all right, what happened with people is that there was certain documentation they were supposed to get. So if they wanted to sell on to their houses, they needed this documentation. And the Help to Buy scheme wasn't giving it to them, or the lines were just busy, or they couldn't get through, or waiting months and months, or giving repeat pieces of information for them to be able to sell their house. And a lot of people have lost a lot of money through this not being able to happen. And I think it was only 1 or 2 people manning the desk. And you know what it's like in government institutions and local authorities. Everybody takes their time. Nothing's urgent. I've never worked in a job where nothing's urgent. I could have an email and respond to it in a week and no one would still chase me up. In banking, it's just like, you've got to follow this up now. But you know, this establishment that was supposed to unlock the social housing is renegading on it a little bit, and the amount of social housing that's supposed to be unlocked isn't being unlocked. I can tell you that for sure. And that's not an allegation. Just don't tell too many people this. I'm going to have to snip this when I put this up on the internet. But councils, I didn't sign an NDA, so I don't care. I can say what I want. Right? So Touch T says councils to blame. Sorry, that went off. Councils to blame for selling off lands to private investment firms. Yes, I said that. Lady B says in Europe they provide housing for their citizens. Only here in the UK you get nada. They do provide for the citizens. We do have council housing, and for the old people we do.
11 years.
You just have to wait 11 years for it now. And Touch T says nothing urgent because of the volume of work. There was no volume of work in that Help to Buy helpline. There's no volume of work. They just take their time in dealing with it. But it is a nightmare. DJ Rudy says private landlords are some of them are scammers. Now, I've also seen, just very, very quickly before we go to a break, and in fact, let's break, because we're going to go for a natural break, and I'll come back with some more on social housing and councils.